The Pointing Dog Social Club is a celebration of good dogs, good people, and the great outdoors. We meet every week on the Courthouse Square of lovely Pointing Dog, Tennessee. We now join a meeting in progress with your host, Dr. John White.
Bonza Hattie. Thank you, and welcome to another meeting of the Pointing Dog Social Club. And have we got an amazing musical talent for you tonight. But before we get started, I see an old buddy in the audience, Mr. Scott Caldwell. Scott, come on up here.
Yes, sir.
Scott, it's great to see you.
Hey, it's good to be out here. I'm glad to get your dog back to you.
Scott Caldwell and Kylie Caldwell run Rusty Guns Kennel in Lillington, North Carolina, and they've had my dog Waco gal for about 3 months. She's been at summer school, and we're real proud of the job that Scott and Kylie have done with her. What do you think about old Waco?
I'll tell you, she's a heck of a little dog. We helped breed this dog, and you contacted us about her, and we tried to help out the best we can with some stuff you got going on and getting her trained up and getting her ready for hunting season this year. And she's just come along really nice.
Well, I tell
really
you,
nice.
I was so proud to see her, and her eyes are all lit up. I think she's ready for bird season. Thank you, Scott.
She's definitely ready for bird season. She drives us nuts in the kennel in bird season.
Now I'm going to quit bragging about my dog and bring up an extraordinarily talented guest for you this evening. She's a singer-songwriter, grew up in picturesque and bucolic Mount Olive Township, Bud Lake, New Jersey. Music reviewers have called her songs moving and hopeful as she spices up her brilliant creations with dabs of country, folk, and pop music. I'm talking about my good friend, the beautiful and talented Miss Lindsay Ellyn. Lindsay Ellyn, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am really excited to be here, and I appreciate you having me on.
Well, Lindsay, Bud Lake is about an hour west of New York City, and we talked about this, but I actually lived near there in Andover for about 6 months working on a little project. And back then, it was still horse and cow country. In fact, I rode an Arabian horse every weekend on a real nice 900-acre spread. But I imagine by the time you came along, it had changed a lot.
Bud Lake, New Jersey. Yes, I am so shocked that you know Bud Lake. It's such a small world that you are familiar and that you spent time there. A lot of Bud Lake has changed, I'm sure. Some of it may be as you remember, but I feel like New Jersey sometimes gets a bad reputation for being just this suburban wasteland, and that's not the case at all. We are called the Garden State, and it's not for nothing. Parts of New Jersey are really beautiful. There's a lot of farmland, there's a lot of horse country up there. Parts of it are very mountainous, so it's beautiful, and it was a great place to call home. And I miss it. I haven't been back in quite a while.
Well, how does a girl from northern New Jersey get interested in country music?
So I started getting interested in country music when I was pretty young. My parents had cassette tapes and albums of artists that I just really started getting into. Mary Chapin Carpenter, Lyle Lovett was a big one. Of course, John Hyatt. So I really came to country music through more contemporary artists. And then when I was living in New York, that's when I started discovering artists like Steve Earle and Lucinda Williams. And that really, that just made me fall deeper and deeper in love with the country and Americana genre. And I still love all those artists to this day.
Well, about 10 years ago, Lindsay, you started performing, playing your original songs in the East Village and Lower East Side of New York City. And tell us about that and your songwriting.
Yeah, so I started writing music while I was living in New York. I was kind of late to songwriting. I didn't start writing songs until I was in my 20s. And, it's an incredible place to be inspired and to be writing music. And I look back on those years of performing around the East Village and the Lower East Side and the West Village so fondly. I mean, it was just really an incredible time in my life, and I'm sad to say that a lot of those little venues that were so crucial to the New York music scene are gone or starting to close up shop. So that's a bummer. But I'm just so glad I was there when I was, and I was able to be a part of that world and meet some other great songwriters while I was there.
Well, we're so glad you wound up moving close to Pointing Dog. Tell us about coming to Nashville.
I moved to Nashville in 2014 after many years in New York, and I was just really craving a change, and I wanted to be in a place where I could pursue music more seriously. It was difficult to do while I was in New York because I have a whole other career in advertising, and it was very demanding while I was living in New York, and so I really couldn't spend the time I wanted to spend on music, and I felt like maybe if I moved to Nashville, I could make that dream more of a reality. So I packed up my things and I moved to Nashville. I didn't know a soul, and it was exciting and kind of nerve-wracking, but it all worked out, obviously. 5 years later, here we are. And I love it here. And I've gotten to work with a lot of great people since getting to town. And I'm really excited that I'm putting out my new record, which will be my first full-length album early next year. And I'll be re-recording, and I've kind of reimagined some of the songs that were on my 2 previous EPs that have been out in the world. So I'm really excited for people to hear how these songs have changed and how my sound has changed a little bit. And I'm going to play some for you today.
Oh, this is like finding a good prize in a box of Cracker Jacks. So you're going to give us a preview.
I know, and they'll sound very different than they sound on the record. but that's fun too, to just play these songs acoustically, how I wrote them, sitting in my writing room by myself. So I really love to be able to strip the songs down and just play them in kind of the back to basics way, as I wrote them originally.
Well, I've heard them the old way and the new way too, and I like them. Which one are you going to start with?
This song is the title track off the album, and it's called Queen of Nothing.
Lindsay, Ellyn, everybody.
I know about making mistakes. I know how it feels to miss your shot. So close I could feel it burning, and blowing out the flame was as far as I got. And sometimes, oh, I feel like running away just beyond these blues, and I can be the queen of nothing in my paper crown with nothing to lose. And I know about being lonely, longing for love to knock upon my door, dressed up and made up and waiting for a heart inside a body out there looking for more. And sometimes